As I mentioned earlier this morning, Russia's military launched several missiles into the city of Lviv in western Ukraine, which until today was largely unscathed by the Russian attacks. The missile attack resulted in the deaths of at least 7 and injuries to about a dozen, including a child. With me now to give us an on-the-ground update is freelance war correspondent Chuck Holton, who is in Ukraine. Chuck, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm good, Chuck. I'm glad to see that you're safe, but the fighting seems to be intensifying. Give us the latest of what's happening there in Ukraine.
That's right. I'm in the southern city of Mykolaiv, and that's only about 10 miles from the front lines between Mykolaiv and Kherson. Now, the Ukrainians and the Russians have been trading artillery all day long and all night last night. As a matter of fact, I can even hear it while I'm standing here, just like rolling thunder off in the distance. The Russians are obviously stepping up their attacks. They're trying to increase this new offensive, especially down in the south and in the east. But as you said, there was also the attack in Lviv today, which probably was aimed at the train station there because there are supplies, weapons, and other material coming in from the west into Lviv on that train. Now, that's also where a lot of refugees are going out to the west from Ukraine. So it's obviously there are a lot of civilians there, and the civilians were the ones who were killed in that attack today. Now, there have been lots of attacks in Mykolaiv here where I am, as the Russians try to soften up this city for a new attack. We're wondering if they're planning to try to encircle Mykolaiv by coming in from the sea. There have been several Russian ships spotted headed this way, and a lot of fighting down in the south right on the coast. So we're waiting over the next few days to see what comes of that.
Chuck, last week with the Russians losing one of their flagships to the Ukrainians, is this an effort with these missile attacks to try to show strength? Is this a sign of desperation on behalf of Russia?
Well, I think everything that Putin has done from the beginning of this war has been acting out of his weakness, and this is no different. Obviously, stepping up the brutality of attacks. This new general that they've put in charge of the increased offensive here in the south, who had a reputation for brutality in Syria, and this is exactly what we're seeing here. They're losing pretty much whenever they try to fight the Ukrainian military, and so with the Ukrainian military being much better trained, much better led, and much better disciplined than the Russian troops. Also, they've got equipment the Russian troops don't have, like radios, things like that. With the assistance of the West and a lot of signals intelligence being passed along to the Ukrainians might actually have the upper hand in this. And they are saying that they plan to push the Russians out of Kherson, the only major city that has been completely taken so far across Ukraine. So I think the next couple of weeks are going to be pivotal in this campaign. And if the Ukrainians can muster enough troops to push the Russians back once again, that will be almost a death blow to the morale of the Russians. They're already talking about on Russian state media that maybe they ought to let Ukraine get rid of their own Nazis. That probably would have been a good idea from the start. But we will see, and it's obvious the Russians are desperately trying to get some sort of victory to tout to their people back in Russia.
Final question for you, Chuck. You heard the Prime Minister of Ukraine saying that like, no surrender, we will fight this until we win. Do you see that same resolve among the Ukrainian people as you're there on the ground?
I absolutely do. The Ukrainian forces that I talk to are grim in their determination, but absolutely optimistic that they will push Russia out. They will be victorious, and they won't stop until they are. They realize that the other option is Bucha. The other option is Mariupol. That's what happens when the Russians take over, and so they know that death and torture and destruction is the only end of not winning this war, and so that's pretty good motivation for these troops, and they are ready to fight to the finish.
Chuck Holton, thanks so much again for joining us. We look forward to your updates from Ukraine, and we pray for your safety.
Thank you.
If